Another video. In this video we will discuss and explore the project structure that we created in the last video. So in the last video we created a new blog app with the Ruby 3.3.0 version and the Rails 7 Plus version. So let's explore that project. So before starting, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Let's go to the terminal and open the project, cd into new blog and open it in the VS Code. Okay, so this is the default files and folders that are created. We did not add anything yet. So the most important file is this gem file. If we open it, you can see here in the gem file all the gems and libraries that are used in this project are listed here. So for example, you can see this project is using Ruby 3.3.0 version and it is using the Rails 7.1.3 version, and it comes with this Sprocket Rails gem. This is used for ACID pre-compiling, and it is using this SQLite 3 version for the database, and using the Puma as the web server. And it comes with the import map Rails for the JavaScript. This is the new library that comes by default in the Rails 7, and it uses the Turbo Rails for the hotwire and the live updates. It uses the Stimulus Rails, the new JavaScript framework, and it uses the JBuilder for using the JSON APIs. And you can see all the dependencies are listed here. The dependencies that are in this group development, these are only for the development purpose. They will be used or installed in the development environment. They will not be installed in the production or testing environment. So for example, if you want to add some specific gems for the test, you can see here we have the group test, and for the test environment it uses these two gems because these are gems that helps in the testing. So if you need to add any other gem or library, you need to add here. For example, if I want to add the authentication in this project, I will add a gem, for example device, but you can use any other. You have to list here, and you need to run bundle install. So after you run bundle install, it will install this gem, and then you can use its code in the project. So I think whenever you created a new project or works in a Ruby on Rails project, you first need to go through this gem file so that you can know that which libraries and gems are being used. Okay, and the next, let's explore our app folder. This is the main folder where we write most of the code, because Ruby on Rails comes with the MVC pattern. For example, we have these controllers, models and views. So let me show you what is this MVC pattern. So if I create a diagram here quickly, we have this model, and then we have this view. In the view, then we have the controller. Okay, for example, this is the user. So when the user sends the request the request comes to the controller. The controller will get the data or update from the model. Model will return the data to the controller, right? And then the controller will render the view. The view is then respond back, and then this is and then the controller pass this data to the view, and the view is rendered, and it responds back to the user. So this is the MVC pattern. Like models and views can't directly communicate, and it only goes through the models, through the controllers. So yeah, this is the MVC structure. For example, these are the controllers where we have all the controllers here. We have the models. Currently we don't have any models yet, and these are the views, right? Okay, and here we have our assets. We have these style sheets where we can write our CSS or any other framework that you are using, for example Bootstrap or Tailwind. We have these images. We can put our images here, and then we can use them in the project. Okay, in the channels, these are for hotwire and action cable. Currently we will discuss this about later. And then yeah, these are the helpers that are, we can use these helper methods that are accessible in the views. Okay, and this is the JavaScript, and these are the controllers in the JavaScript because we are using the stimulus, and these are all the stimulus controllers. Okay, and these are the mailers. We are using the Rails comes with the default action mailer. You can see it, application mailer, it inherits from the action mailer, and when we need to send an email, we need to add our files or the code here. Okay, these are the models and the views. So this is the app structure, and this is the config where we have all the configuration of the project. For example, we can see if you want to add some configuration for the development, you will need to add it in the development.rb. If you need to add some configuration only for the production, you need to add it in the production.rb file. In the same way for the test. So the next is the initializers. These are the files that are initialized when our Rails project starts. So when the Rails is initializes or project initializes, these are all the files that run by default. So if you want to run any code when the Rails project starts, you need to add it in the initializers. Okay, and this is the application.rb file. These files here we will add the configuration that is being used for all the environments, right? And this is the boot.rb file. When our project boots up, this file runs. And this is the credentials.yml.enc. This is currently encrypted because Rails uses the encrypted credentials. If you need to add the some credentials in your Rails project, you need to add it in this file. First you have to decrypt with the master key. The master key is here. If you change it or delete it, you will not be able to edit this file. And this is the database file. For example, you can see that we are currently using the SQLite 3, so we need to add the configuration related to our database here. For example, the adapter is SQLite 3, the timeout, and the database name for the development, for the test, and for the production. We have to set up separately. Okay, so this is the import map. You can see I already showed you in the gem file for the JavaScript. The Rails 7 comes with the import map Rails if you want to add any external dependencies, you need to use import map to pin or install the dependencies here. In the same way, this is the Puma. All the configuration related to the web server is configured here. And yeah, this is the routes. This is also the most important. So if I go to our previous diagram, so the user actually can't directly send the request to the controller. The request comes, if I remove this one and this one, so here we have the routes. So when the user sends the request, it comes to our routes folder, this routes.rb file, and here it will check which route the user hits, and then based on the route it sends the request to the controller. For example, if I write here get /home or /users, right, and then 2, and the controller is for example users #index. Okay, so for example, when the user sends the request, for example the user sends the request /users, it goes to the routes. In the routes it will check which route it is. So it is this that uses routes, and what it does is it will check the mapping. So it will check that it is mapped into the users controller and the index method. So it will call the users controller, and the users controller will call its any models that you need to fetch the data, and then the controller method will be the index. So it will call the users controller and the index method, users and method will be index. Okay, yeah, so this is for the config file, and our next folder is db. So this is the database folder where we have the seed file, in which you need to add some data that you want to seed or initialize with the database by default. So you need to add that in this file. So here in this db we will have any migration. For example, if you need to add a table in the database, or you need to modify or update any table, you will create a migrations, and these migrations will be listed in this db folder. Okay, so in this layer, the next folder is the lib. Here we have the tasks and assets. So the tasks are some specific files that you run to perform some specific rake tasks. And then we have this log file where we have all the logs of the project. So all the logs are listed here. And yeah, then we have this public folder where all the files that are publicly accessible will go in this folder. And then this is the storage. It's you can see here our SQLite database is present in this folder. So, or when we need to install or use the active storage, so this folder is being used for that purpose. So then we have our test. Here we will write our tests in this folder. For example, if you want to write tests for the controllers, you will need to add the files or code in this folder. If you want to need tests for models or systems or helpers, each have their own folder, and you need to write tests in this one. So by default, Rails comes with the mini tests or unit tests, but if you want to use any other, for example RSpec, you need to add the gem RSpec in the gem file, and then you will you will be able to use the RSpec code in your project. Yeah, and then I think that's all. These are the most important files and folders that you should keep in mind when you write code. So yeah, I think that's all for this video, and in the next video we will actually develop our we will write code and implement our blog application. So yeah, thank you for watching, and keep updated.